Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming along here today as well to the 14th London Business School Middle Eastern Conference. As has been said, I'm a professor of economics here at London Business School, and I've just stepped down after 5 years as Deputy Dean, where I was very engaged in the school's activities in Dubai. So I'm very personally grateful to be here to show some support for the school and the region. And also, I should say on behalf of the Dean and Sir Andrew Lickerman, a very warm welcome to you all, our distinguished speakers, students, sponsors, alumni, and the guests joining us today. So I think you're truly fortunate to have a great lineup of speakers this afternoon. And for that, I'm very grateful to our talented and clearly very well-networked students who run our Middle East Club. And I'd particularly like to single out for praise Ahmad Al-Ansari, who I believe is currently sitting an exam right now, which seems a bit unfair, but there we go. He's this year's conference chairman, but I think the whole team should be congratulated for a great agenda. They've done both themselves, the school, and the Middle East proud, and I thank them for that. So as I was preparing my introduction, I wondered what the agenda must have been like for past conferences, particularly that very, very first conference, this being the 14th, because I suspect an awful lot has changed since then. At a macro level, the region's grown fast, and in many countries been a dramatic transformation. And as the center of the global economy has its geography shift further and further east, the Middle East finds itself literally right now at the center point of the world economy. And as both inward and outward investment into and from the region have risen sharply, the region truly is now globally connected in ways other than through just oil. I'm also proud to say that London Business School's involvement in the region has expanded over that time, with an ever higher proportion of our students coming from the region, and the school now running successfully a degree program in Dubai, which is the only place outside of London where we award our own degrees. And of course, we have extensive connections with the Middle East through a variety of companies, through executive education, and of course, the career path of our own students. So I guess this is perhaps a good time to single out some of those corporates and thank them enormously for being sponsors today. Our platinum sponsor, Strategy and the gold sponsor, Bank Islam Brunei Dar es Salaam, as well as our media partner, Al Barari TV. LBS has a mission, and that mission is to have a profound impact on the way the world does business. And the support and connections with forward-looking organizations such as our sponsors today is a crucial part of how we achieve that. But if I just go back to what I was talking about, the last few decades have been good ones for the region, but you'll see in the title for today, there's a sort of sense of apprehension in the region right now. The Middle East is in something of a turmoil. The Arab Spring and its unfortunate outcomes, the Syrian war, the troubling news around ISIS, falling oil prices, and the Iran deal have all played their part in shaking the long-standing status quo that has governed the region. So it might appear that both economics and politics are now combining to make the region's immediate future more uncertain. And I suspect that's why the Middle East Club have chosen that title, Opportunities in Adversity, with a nod to that Chinese proverb, don't waste a good crisis. And of course, as an economist, opportunities in adversity is something I thoroughly appreciate because it's all about risk and return, basically. So whilst the past decades have been prosperous ones, and there have been many supportive macro factors, I think it's also worth pointing out it's by no means been smooth sailing, either economically or politically. So if there is adversity to come, this is a region that is attuned to adversity and how to deal with it. And I think if you look at the agenda for today, that's really the theme that's being tapped into. The region has throughout history shown the ability to navigate both good and bad times. And of course, the best individuals and companies thrive under all circumstances. In fact, as a macroeconomist, what I notice is in recessions, productivity improves. In the bad times, the good get better. It's precisely the bad times who reveals who's actually good. If a rising tide raises all boats, it's the downturns you find out who's really got talent, who's smart, and who has the strategic wherewithal to seize the opportunities created in those times of adversity. So I guess that's why in the past, even though the last decades have been good ones, even though there has been some turmoil, there have always been individuals who have managed not only to survive, but thrive in those difficult times. The historically powerful family businesses that govern the region have shown to be resilient against adversity and often even grow throughout. And of course, these businesses form the backbone of some of the Middle East's largest economies and are increasingly learning to modernize themselves through institutional reforms and talent retention. And of course, the role of the private sector, I suspect, will get greater, with falling oil prices leading to governments likely to cut spending or reduce the growth. Private financing will have to step into that gap. And private investment in the region has already substantially increased the past few years as deal sourcing is becoming more structured. This clearly has long-term implications for the economy, and I think opens up in the next few years some increasingly interesting entrepreneurial activities, offering opportunities to inject further dynamism in the region. So today we'll be considering how these family businesses are looking to thrive in these harsher climes, as well as comprehend the challenges that firms are facing in the region. Further, I think if you look ahead at these family businesses as they mature, I think the conference organizers want to understand how they could potentially turn into targets or conduits for the global private equity industry. Given the structure of financial markets in the Middle East, given the declining oil revenue will place greater focus on operational and strategic efficiency, the years ahead are interesting ones for the private equity industry in the Middle East. So I'm particularly glad to see the organizers have arranged a panel on that topic, which will be chaired by my colleague, Professor Francesco Cornelli, who is in charge of the Private Equity Institute at London Business School. So, all in all, this seems a particularly apposite time to have arranged such a high-quality event, and those are the themes for the afternoon. So I think you're in for a fascinating time, which I hope you enjoy very much.